We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
I just want to make an impact, a positive impact on as many people as possible.
You gotta want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe.
When you're down, you might feel like you want to give up. Don't stop. Keep moving. Keep breathing.
There's a war on consciousness in our society.
There is an awakeness, an awareness that sees it all. And it's in you too. It's in all of us.
We have to stop consuming our culture. We have to create culture.
This is the G and Coletti Show.
Let's begin.
On this episode of the G and Coletti Show, we got to speak with social media superstar Matthew Espinosa. At the ripe old age of 16 years old, his Vine and other social media followings just started to blow up. One day, however, he realized he was here for a different purpose, and that's why we interviewed him on our show. His first movie, entitled Be Somebody, just hit the big screens, and we're excited to share his message with all of you.
So what is the influencer movement? Nowadays, you don't need to have connections to become a star. Sometimes the right message can catch the ears of millions of people and catapult you into superstardom. The influencer movement is really reshaping entertainment in Hollywood, and the people are having more choice into where they spend their free time and exactly who they invest their time listening to. We hope that more of these types of superstars can spread a more positive message like what Matthew's doing.
So on our recent trip to LA, where me and Joe went for a Wim Hof, conference or workshop. Wim Hof is episode number 6. If you guys haven't listened to it, it's the Iceman. He does all these crazy things. Anyways, we were hanging out one night and we met a guy named Ryan Espinosa. We had a really good conversation about him and about Hollywood and about the positive influence people can have on each other. And we ended up finding out that his younger brother had become a Vine superstar and then an Instagram, superstar, and actually got offered to be in a movie, which he helped to produce. And I thought, wow, that's such an interesting story for an 18-year-old to be able to, with his phone, start sending videos and achieve his goal of becoming a famous actor. So we ended up talking to Ryan. We kept in touch and we said, we wanted to have his brother on the show and just to find out what happened and what he's really doing. And that's basically what happened. I just wonder what that feeling is like, that one day where all of a sudden, you put that one thing out there and it just goes viral.
Yeah, I think it seems so simple as a viewer or as a fan of someone, but there's so much thought and there's some X factor involved in it. We really know that it's not that easy to catch the attention of millions of people.
I know Matthew always felt like he was on this earth, so he says in the interview, for a bigger reason. And then maybe that was just the universe saying, okay, I'm going to put you in a place now where many people can hear you. So we got to do our interview with Matthew over Skype while he was just in Chicago getting ready for his big movie launch. He's in a Starbucks, so you might hear some background noise, so I'm going to apologize in advance for that.
I just kind of went for it, but not with the idea that I would get big, just with the idea that I would try to make some of my friends smile or laugh or something, which is what I like to do anyways. So at this point, I was just doing my own thing, and then randomly one of my Vines just went viral. It was just a random weekday night. I was doing my homework and all my friends texted me. They're like, yo, dude, congrats, man. I'm like, what? And then they got another text and like, dude, this is crazy, bro. How do you feel? I'm like, what are you texting them back? I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Just really confused. I'm like, dude, look at your Twitter, bro. Look at your Vine. It's insane, man. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I pull on my phone. I'm just looking at everything. And I refresh my page when I go on Twitter and I see all these notifications. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's going on in my life right now? I have no idea what's happening. And now that was the night that just both of my lives collided, the social media and my real life. And I didn't think that social media would actually become part of my life. I thought it was just a hobby of mine that I'd be able to be let me just type in a tweet and go on with my normal life. And when I noticed that could be a possibility, it started opening all these doors in my mind about, the potential things that could come out of it. Wow, if this Vine got this many likes and I got so-and-so followers from it, what would 2 Vines do? What would a 3rd Vine do? A 5th, a 7th, a 70th, an 80th, a 120th Vine? How many followers can I get right now? So that's what I was thinking, and I was very driven to keep doing that. And then I realized that an acting career could come out of this, and that's when it really all hit me about, the way the universe works. Because I remember growing up, I would always want to be an actor. I'd be staring at TV screens, standing up, not even sitting down, really close up to the TV, standing up, wishing I could be an actor. And I've always had that passion inside of me to be that person and to put myself out there. So when this came about, I definitely was like, this is my calling. The stars were aligning on this one, especially with my brother graduating from business school at the time, getting his marketing degree. Everything just kind of came into play at that time, especially when, I wanted to move out to California because that's the same time he graduated. And that's when he was going to move out to California anyway. So it was just like a lot of weird coincidences that all lined up within 1 month, or all on that same month, and it was really odd. So I kind of took a step back and was like, okay, let's keep going with this. Let's start, getting a brand going. Let's start doing all this. And that's something Ryan really, embedded into my brain based on the fact that he's a marketer and he's a business guy. So that was something that I was very blessed to be able to say. It was just that I had a lot of my family backing me up.
So it seems like the stars really aligned for him. He was in the right place, the right time. His brother just finished business school. But do you believe it was like a timing thing? Like he got lucky? Or do you think things happen to certain people for certain reasons?
I feel like you're trying to set me up here because we know we both don't believe in luck. It's all about his destiny and whatnot. And there's two really interesting parts here. One, him staring at the TV reminds me of somewhat like a moving vision board. He's staring at it every day. Every day it's entering his psyche. He's thinking about it. He's dreaming about it until one day, in my opinion, it actually manifested. Two, I find a reoccurring theme among a lot of very successful people that they started it with good intentions. It wasn't about making money. It wasn't about maybe being famous or the benefits of being famous.
He just wanted to make his friends laugh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He genuinely wanted to do good things, see his friends laugh, and entertain people.
But going back to your first point, I just stare at the TV every day wanting to be part of Full House, in the family.
But maybe you're living that right now. Just
in a different format.
Now you're Danny Tanner.
You know what? I never thought of that.
Kind of look like him too.
So anyways, what you were talking about earlier, I think, was something called visualization. Him standing, visualizing him becoming a star one day. And it's actually a technique that a lot of people can use. And we'll talk about it a little bit more. But let's see how he was actually taught how to use visualization.
Yeah, that's actually something that my football coach kind of embedded into Ryan's brain as well, just to literally visualize your goal. Like if the play is about to start, and I know the ball's coming to me, I literally would have to close my eyes and know, okay, do this, cut left, catch the ball. This safety's probably going to come in, so cut inward and then go back. Literally visualize yourself juking out that cornerback or juking out that safety, catching the ball, visualizing it, and then you actually go for it. So that was something that, my brother told me that his coach would always tell him, and even that my coach would tell me as well. So I kind of took that and ran with it when it came down to anything in my life. I literally have envisioned myself being on set with so many big actors that are only a dream of mine to be with. I've envisioned myself being on the red carpet of my premiere. I've envisioned myself getting an Oscar. I close my eyes and seeing that image in my head, and I know that it will happen. So it's something that, is a confidence mindset that I've been sticking with for about 1.5 years now. And it's always helped me out. It's weird. I'll visualize it and it just happens. It's such a weird thing, the law of attraction. So the visualization thing was such a crazy part of my life that I was making sure I was going to do every single day.
I'm a firm believer of visualization, and I've used it in sports when I was much younger in martial arts, but it didn't really come into play when I had to heal my arm after the injury. And I would, think about it every day. I would visualize my hand coming back. I'd visualize me bumping into people.
So for those of you who are just tuning in or don't know, Coletti was shot multiple times, and one bullet left him permanently paralyzed from his bicep down. Was it
from the elbow down?
From the elbow down. So no movement. He had some feeling, but no movement. It was a flaccid hand.
I could barely feel any hot or cold. Yeah, basically it was completely flaccid. And doctor said, obviously, after 2 and then 4 months, they said there's no way of it coming back. So I turned to the new age type stuff, and I visualized, again, bumping into people from the hospital and then being amazed that my arm came back, or going to show my parents or my friends that it came back out of nowhere. And again, like he said, when it's really weird when it happens, because it was really odd, because I actually had those experiences. I'll give you an example. My physiotherapist, I visualized bumping into her at the grocery store. And after a year after the accident, and her just being amazed that my hand healed. And I hadn't seen her for 6 months. And the last time she saw me, my hand was completely dead. And that happened exactly like that. I bumped into her at the grocery store.
And what they say is, for those who want to implement visualization, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the better you visualize what you want, like the more you smell it, you feel the feeling. What does it sound like? Where are you? What colors do you see? Just really picture yourself where you want to be. And the more you do that on a daily basis, eventually it becomes reality. I know it sounds like wonky, kind of like.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said you have to feel the feeling. Don't just walk through the motions. Don't visualize it, but not believe it. You have to really genuinely believe that is going to happen. And when you're thinking about it, that you're actually in that situation, feeling the feelings that you would feel.
So we have a live example of someone who reconnected a nerve and was able to remove a hand that they said would never happen again. It's not all visualization, but I know it played a huge role in the whole process. Now, sometimes I feel like we should call this podcast the intuition podcast, because almost every single guest who I've noticed a common trait is they've all sometime in their life start tapping into their intuition, and it's led them where they needed to go. And everyone we interview, I start asking them about intuition, and they say, yeah, I just get this feeling. Some of them describe it in different ways, but it all comes down to just believing in that gut feeling and going with it.
Yeah, the intuition thing, it's funny because there's been multiple times, like good amount of times actually in the past year and a half, where so many of my my family and friends and like different business partners would look at me and be like, Matthew, you're so stupid. What decision are you making? Why would you turn this movie down? You're so dumb. Like, no, Matthew, do this tweet, like do this one. You should do it. And I'm like, no. Like, I know in the future it's going to come back down and it's just going to backfire on me. Like, I don't want to do it. And I remember like a month later, they'd be like, okay, Matt, that was a good decision. I remember like a specific thing I did. Like the director was fighting with me back and forth on if I should do this narration in this film. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I've never seen a movie like this have this narration. Like, I was so set on it. And the director was so pissed at me. Everybody on the production team was so pissed at me. But then when the movie came out, they're like, you were right. And I like, so to have like me and then every like 100% of other people in the room saying I'm wrong, and me still knowing deep in my gut that this was going to be something that I had to stick with. There's few things in my life that I get a feeling for, and when I get that feeling, I'm sticking with it no matter what. I don't care about what people have to say. I don't care about their opinions, and if I'm wrong, I definitely will say I'm wrong. Like, yo, my bad.
So that's a good point. It's like sometimes it's really tough now in this day and age to not have people influence your decisions, whether it's the media, whether it's TV, whether it's, your own incessant thinking based on outside forces that, am I making a mistake when doing this wrong? But then there's that gut feeling that you have to try to listen to, which it seems like Matthew did. But what would you suggest to people to shut that out and listen to that?
I think it's tough enough for an 18-year-old in everyday life, but when he's talking to a director that, most people would say maybe that was his 15 minutes of fame, that could have been his last shot of making a big-time movie, and him passing up the opportunity, I think it's extraordinary. I think not many people would do that. And maybe that's the key to his success. He's so firm in his conviction that he's like, if that's what I decided, that's what I'm doing. I don't care if everybody hates me. And he's a kid, right?
That's what I'm feeling. When he feels it, he goes with it. And I think a lot of people won't even understand what that is because they never have that gut instinct, or maybe they do and they don't realize or they don't listen to it. But be aware, feel it. Try and see when you feel certain situations in your life where you think, oh, is that my instinct? Is that my intuition really, really tapping on me, saying, hey, listen up, this is the decision you got to make.
I think an important part to mention too is that gut feeling, that intuition doesn't just kick in when you're kind of like off your life path. It doesn't always have to be something negative that's pulling you away from making a decision. It's also about feeling right in your decisions when you're on the correct life path and you're doing, say, what your life purpose was, or what when you're feeling good.
How about when you're not doing something right? When you start feeling depressed, you feel anxiety. I believe that is your inner self, or whatever you want to call it, started to tell you, look, what we're doing is not what we're supposed to be doing, trying to divert you away. So you're feeling these feelings of, depression, anxiety, just not feeling right, not questioning what you're doing.
Yeah, and human beings.
Can you relate?
Yeah, to get them to move, I guess you have to, it's the donkey analogy. You either need the carrot or the whip. We have to move towards pleasure or away from pain. So it's going to make you move however it can. So if it's going to be depression, then you'll be depressed until you get on the right
There's some system that guides us to find our purpose. And some people find it a lot easier than others. Some people take a whipping, a shooting, a beating.
33 years.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that day. I woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm not on this earth for me. And that's why I was given this voice, because I'm not on this earth for me. So I got to do something with this voice. So whether that be through me on Twitter telling them every day that they, have to keep growing as human beings and always open up your mind to new things, for me saying a certain message in a movie, I'm always going to focus on moving people forward in my life, because I don't think I had a voice just so I could go to like a party, in LA. I don't believe that's why I was here. I don't believe that's why God gave me the blessing to go from a normal school in Virginia to move out to Los Angeles. Like, it's not why God put me here. So that's not why the universe had me be in this place. So I think that these 7+ billion people, especially my generation, I think they need me, and they need other people in their life who can help kind of put them in that direction of teaching others to always grow and to realize that we aren't on this earth for ourselves.
I found this clip very, very unusual. I think the whole new generation is very self-absorbed. That's where the selfie came from. It's all about me. It's all about how many likes I get, how cool I am. Not that our generation wasn't, but this one here, I guess, with social media and the internet the way it is and whatnot.
Well, I try to remember what I was doing at 18 years old, and if I was thinking about helping others, I'm sure I don't know. I can't picture me getting some form of stardom at that young age and not just getting absorbed in it.
Exactly, and thinking that you want to use all that whole spotlight that you have, where you can get whatever you want to give back to people and provide
influence. It's amazing.
A glimpse of hope.
Maybe there is hope, and I really hope that not only does he influence others, but he mentioned this too, is that hopefully he influences others to influence others. So to spread that message. So people he's influencing, whatever their voice is, whether it's other influencers or even just the people who follow him, just to keep spreading that message of, we're not here for ourselves. We're here to help each other, and we're here to, create a sustainable world for, future generations to come. So it gives me a little bit of a shimmer of hope in this whole, millennial generation.
And he didn't get this this spotlight and stardom just to go party or get a bunch of likes on the Instagram, which is kind of shallow, let's say, and self-centered. It's more, to help people.
Yeah. And then, so he finally got a movie deal, which he waited out for.
A lot of projects starting when I got to LA in 16 and 17. And I wasn't fond of any of them, based on the fact that they were just centered around social media and just different stuff, because let's just put all social media kids together and make a big film and get a lot of money. And I just wasn't about that. I probably denied 6 to 7 projects before picking up this movie, based on the fact that I had a certain, I had a gut feeling, you only get one movie, you only get one first movie, and that's something I realized. And I want a good first impression of people to see me traditionally, because there are people who have seen me on YouTube and stuff, but that's when you really kind of have to go searching into the web of finding me. But this movie is a traditional thing that people are randomly going to see me of, especially people who have never seen me before, and I want them to see the side of me that is actually me, and that's the side that's going to teach people how to grow more. And if I can do that through a film, then I'm going to do that. And how it all came about was because this company already had it written up, and I was working with this company for about a year now, and they told me, they're like, hey Matthew, what about this film? And I saw the script and I thought it was pretty good, and I thought I saw the messaging and I saw the vision in this movie, and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm down, but I want to be the executive producer. I don't want to just act, I want to actually put a bigger hand on this. And they were down for it. So, I helped a lot with the casting. I helped a lot with the music. I helped a lot with just all the pre-production and post-production stuff. I remember being on set and randomly going up to lighting guys and grip guys, camera guys, and saying, hey, what's that? What's this? What's that? What's this? Just because I love learning, and it gave me a greater appreciation of film, just based on the fact that I was an executive producer. I couldn't be more grateful that they trusted me with that, especially the fact that they had never seen me act in a longer form. I didn't even really have to audition for it. They just kind of had to trust me, because I had done a small little series with them before, but overall that was a completely different character than what Jordan was going to be. So they had to trust me, not just with acting, but to have the vision of it as an executive producer and take it where it needs to be. So that's kind of how it all came together. And ever since then, I've been given some other films and some other projects, but I haven't taken any of them. And it sucks for me to say, it's I've turned down a good amount of money, I've turned down a good amount of projects, but it's it shows that I'm not here for the money and I'm not here for the fame. It's I know that I'm here for a certain purpose, for this certain lane of people that want to learn and grow more, and I can't have them grow if I'm putting out bull crap movies. So that's just something deep down in my gut that I know has to happen.
So again, you hear this 18-year-old talking, and it seems like he's much older than his actual real age.
Yeah, he's definitely an old soul. He doesn't sound like a kid. And let's be honest, anybody else gets offered a movie, who knows what he got offered? Maybe I'll throw a number, say $1 million, $500,000, become even more famous, you're taking it.
Yeah, and he's very selective what he does, which is good. Which more people should be out there, not just sell themselves, sell their soul to the devil, so to say, in the Hollywood business. He's got his big brother watching his back too, Ryan, which is always great to have. He's lucky to have that. But I'm curious why he picked this movie. What was it about it? Be Somebody that caught his attention and aligned with his message.
So my movie is about this kid who pretty much has been famous around 8 to 9 years, and he's honestly at a point in his life where he has everything. He's been given everything and like everything and more, and he thinks that is what life is, and then it gets to a point where he's just like, this isn't enough. I have everything in the world and it's still not enough. So he kind of has to go back. He starts backtracking in his life. He's like, okay, now what can I do to be happy? Like, why aren't I happy? Why am I touring? Why am I traveling, seeing all these fans, and why am I not happy? So that's exactly what happens. This kid backtracks while he's on tour and just leaves his tour. And he runs into this girl who is trying to actually become an artist, who's in the position, or she's trying to be in the position that Jordan's at, like level of fame-wise, because she has just so many things inside of her that she just wants to get out. And that's just something that Jordan saw in her. And Jordan learned through her, and she learned through Jordan how to maneuver in their lives. And I think it's a really cool story to someone just to watch by yourself. It doesn't even have to be with someone, just to learn about yourself and to just know that even though you haven't found yourself yet, that doesn't mean it can't happen. Like, Jordan was famous for 8 to 9 years, and he thought it was all done. Like, he's never finding himself. Like, he's done. Like, he hates it all. His life sucks. And he found himself.
I wonder if this is more of somewhat of an autobiography. Now, he seems really happy, but he does have the same type of story where he's super famous, but he's looking for more than just fame. Like, this character is kind of looking for, I guess, his life purpose, and he has it. But it just seems like he's the anomaly in the Hollywood world, that he has the fame, but he's definitely not where he wants to be.
Well, we know from personal experience that life is more of a roller coaster than a straight ride. So there's a lot of ups and downs, and I guess every new challenge presents new learning opportunities. So maybe where he's at right now, this is sort of maybe what he has to learn and feel about. And this experience in the movie is probably an experience for him. But I'm sure it's not the end of the story by any means. There's going to be a lot more ups and downs to come, which present more opportunity for growth. But when you're rich and famous, you're not always fulfilled. So it sort of shows that you got to find it from within. And I think that's what the point of the movie is. I haven't watched it yet, but I plan to download it on iTunes this week. So if you haven't watched it, it's available on iTunes. This is the plug for Matthew's Be Somebody.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's not so much about the destination, getting to a certain financial goal or a certain amount of followers. It's more about that journey. Like you said, you can learn from someone else and they can learn from you and just kind of grow together.
Like you mentioned many times from your own story, you set a goal in your head of how much money you wanted to make or how successful you wanted to be. And I don't know, as you got closer, were you getting more fulfilled?
Actually less, because it was like it started poking holes in my dream. Because as I got closer to it, I realized, like, holy shit, I made a mistake.
It's not what I thought it was, right?
Not even close to what I thought it was.
And I think expectation sets us up for disappointment. When we go and expect our lives to be a certain way or expect something to be some certain way, when you get there and it's not, you're more disappointed. So you should go more experience life. Just feel it out as you go along and say, you know what, where I am right now is interesting. I'm going to keep exploring, but I'm not going to expect to have something at the end of the tunnel or at the end of the rainbow or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Exactly. And a more simple example, that's why New Year's always sucks. You know, those best nights are when you're not going out and maybe it's raining with a couple buddies and those end up being
you end up coming home at 7 a.m. and the birds are chirping. You're like, I never expected that to happen. And you made a bunch of new friends.
It was really cool to see the older brother looking out for the younger brother.
Well, as a guy with two brothers myself, I was really curious to see them working together. I was excited.
Exactly, but you got to figure his younger brother. Obviously was dealing with girls, things in high school, maybe bullies. But his younger brother is a star in Hollywood with all the vultures in Los Angeles coming for him. And it was awesome to see the older brother really trying to learn the game and watching out for him. Not that Matthew needs it, because he's the sharpest 18-year-old I've ever spoke to in my life.
It's always good to have someone in your corner. Just out of business school. Again, is it synchronicity or is it the universe just putting these guys together, getting them ready for, their next big battle, on the social media battlefield to try and raise good over evil or something like that? I probably blew that a little bit Hollywood out of proportion.
Yeah, maybe you did a bit. But we were lucky enough to interview Ryan, so Matthew's older brother, and get his take on the whole situation.
Luckily Matt's a very real, authentic, genuine kid. So, we're rolling with that and trying to keep things as real as possible. And, he's always wanted to help spread change. So that's kind of become his brand, besides obviously him wanting to become an actor, his humanitarian type mentalities are just really present, and we're going to try and make those much stronger so he can not only influence those who follow him to not only learn and understand more things about how this world and just creating more positive vibes, more connectivity, and to do things for the right reasons, more or less. So that's always it's fun, it's awesome to be here and preach to Matt all the time, and it's so weird to see like things I told him. I'm like, I hear in interviews, I'm like, cool, I'm glad I randomly went on a rant that one morning with Matthew about talking about something, because he subconsciously picks up things whenever I talk.
And I think that most people pick up things subconsciously. It's just being in the right place and around the right people that will inspire you, or you can pick up a little bit of their intellect. And that's what we ultimately hope to do by sharing, these interviews with you guys, is that, maybe something you might hear on the show just might spark a light bulb off in your head, or might stick with you, the next week or in the future, that really will impact your life. And the question remains, is Matthew Espinosa going to be the next Martin Luther King? I highly doubt it at this point. It's hard to say, really, but he's onto something. And hopefully he can build that momentum and reach more people than Martin Luther King and really touch, his generation and inspire them to want to change the world, because they are the generation that can make the difference, that has to make the difference before it's too late, if it's not too late already.
A year ago, I was thinking, I'm definitely going to be doing movies till the day I die. This is awesome. And I still have that mindset, but I'm going to be doing movies till the day I die, but I'm also not going to die until I put a huge impact on this world. And that's something I know I can do through movies and without movies, based on the fact that I'm not saying now I can just have a huge impact on the world. I think that every day we create a bigger spark and putting it in people's heads, and to just create that movement. I don't have this problem where I can't reach people, because we're in a generation where you can reach anyone you want to reach through this phone. This is the most powerful thing right now. This is it's so, I realized that, and I was like, okay, I got to do something. I can't just sit here. And whether that be through movies or not, I know I'm going to tell a message in a movie. Like I told him, be somebody. I'm going to tell a different message in another movie, a different message in another movie. But that doesn't mean on Twitter I'm going to be like, hey everyone, come to this huge rally. We're going to get everyone together, and we're going to just learn and love and live life together for this one day. This is what we're going to do, and that's how you create a movement. That's why Martin Luther King will never be forgotten, ever, 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 ever.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream.
There's certain people in our lives, in this generation, in this world, in this whole culture, that will never be forgotten just because of the impact they did. And that's someone who I know I am, and someone who I know I will be. And I will be that person through each day of me learning. I have a lot to learn, even though I know that for an 18-year-old, people have told me, oh yeah, you know a good amount, Matthew, it's amazing. I know that the smartest person knows that they're not the smartest person, and I know I have a lot to learn. So I just want to keep making movies that touch people, and I want to keep doing things that touch people.
Thank you all again for listening. This is the Giancoletti Show signing off. Follow us on Instagram, G_and_Coletti, or subscribe to us on iTunes. I'm really excited to see what happens with Matthew, and best of luck in the coming years to a rising star.